Tonight, the emotional story of a Valley man and the hero father he never got to meet. That hero father was Captain Charles Walling, who, like many Americans, lost his life in Vietnam. But now, years later, the scars of war and the collateral damage it causes have finally healed, thanks to a unique program. There's an old expression about war. The true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what's behind him. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Walling loved what was behind him. Arizona, a beautiful wife, a son whose birth he had missed, and another on the way, which is why he volunteered to fly what would be his 100th mission. It would be his ticket home, so this time he'd be there.
For him to take that flight with a navigator he's never done so that he could be home for my birth, honestly, it was always kind of a burden that I kind of shouldered, like, a sense of guilt.
For years, that guilt was crippling for Mike Walling, the son that Charles would never get to meet. On August 8th, 1966, on that volunteer mission, on his final flight of the day, Charles Walling was shot down near Saigon. Walling was considered missing in action and presumed dead. But there was always that lingering question: could he still be alive out there? It was a question that remained unanswered until December of 2011, when the Wallings got a call that remains had been found. There were bone fragments and a belt buckle, all positively identified. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Milton Walling was finally coming home. We were there when his remains were interred with full military honors in Arlington National Cemetery. We thought that would be the end of this story, that the Wallings finally had some closure and life would go on. But then, one night late last year, Michael's phone rang. You get a call and you've got this opportunity to go to Vietnam. Was there any hesitation at all to go there, or was it just, yes, we're in?
Immediate, yes, we're in. And it was an opportunity that Dina and I never in our wildest, and my brother Jeff never in our wildest dreams thought we would have. So to have an opportunity to go and be where my father's crash site, and even more important to me, were his final moments, and experience that, really brought a connection that in our wildest dreams we never thought we'd ever have.
My heart was exploding. I was so happy for them and myself, because I've lived most of my life with this. He's could have been my dad too.
Say hello to the camera, everybody.
Hello, camera.
And so off they went. Mike, his wife Dina, and two other couples who had also lost loved ones in Vietnam.
Dad, it's you.
Maybe this would finally give him the closure he'd been missing, to visit the crash site where his father died, but more importantly, where he lived.
The visit to Cameron, which was incredibly important to us because that's where he was stationed, that's where he lived, and he was on the beach, and it was beautiful. And one thing that kept going through my mind was that I'm so fortunate, we are so fortunate, that my father got to spend his last days, hours, minutes in this amazing beach location before he hopped in his plane.
And at the crash site, Mike was finally able to have that conversation he'd waited a lifetime to have. When you had that quiet conversation with your dad, what did you say?
So without getting into, the exact words, it was really just a way to say, I love you, I'm sorry we never got to meet. Thank you for instilling in us the values that we are.
But this trip wasn't just for American families. It was part of the Two Sides Project, an organization that connects sons and daughters whose fathers died on opposite sides of the battlefield.
A toast to our Vietnamese friends.
Yes.
Thank you for making a dream come true.
The trip that Mike and Dina thought would be about closure turned out to be something much more powerful: understanding and acceptance that war is blind to the death and multi-generational damage it leaves behind.
I had the most relief with my anger was when we were meeting with the sons and daughters of the Vietnamese killed in action and hearing them say the same things I felt, which were all I wanted to ever do was hug my father and say, Dada, you know, or things like that. And knowing that they had almost those exact same emotions, you know, I really did feel love for those people.
Finding peace where there was once war, understanding where there was once hate, and healing for a heart that for so long was broken. Think about the damage that war causes from 1966 to 2024.
Yes.
It took that long, and there were that many ripples to the destruction that war causes for this family. And I'm so happy that they finally have that circle completed.
Yes, it's such a beautiful story. And it's amazing how you can tell he feels that connection to his father, who he never met.
I know.
You know, he
for
never
so
met.
long he carried around that guilt that his father died to be home for his
For
birth.
him. Oh, I love it. I love the full circle, even with the Vietnamese side and just
Yeah.
the meeting. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Great story, Mark.
Thanks.